Welcome back to the Sound for More channel, and welcome back to another demonstration and tutorial. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to Quantum Granulator, a fantastic new AUv3 effect from GSDSP. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe, as it helps with growing the channel. Additionally, if you would like to support what I do, please do check the instruction contained in each video description. Thank you again. Okay, as you can see, we are inside AUM. This is what the Quantum Granulator looks like. Nice interface. You can see this nice envelope here, which sometimes can look a little bit like a ghost with the different dots. Lot of the modulation as we are used from these controls in terms of modulator here on the bottom left from the apps of GSDSP. Typical, of course, dual state up here and preset menu and different option for randomization, etc. So if you used a previous application from GSDSP, you should be familiar with those. I find the effect really easy to use, one of the easiest one that has been produced by the developer. As you can see here on the top left, we have some input, okay, which is a buffer, but there is another one which is underneath, so dual buff option. We go through the controls in a moment, but it's pretty nice and simple to use. And instead of just going through a lot of demonstration, let me show you straight away some example of what you can do with it. And as I explain that, I go through a little bit of controls, but I think you find if you get to use it that they're really straightforward. So let's select up here, click here where it says glitch, and you can of course create glitch effects. You can create dust effect, you can create ambient type of sound, you can do a lot of different things, and you have a lot of different presets here you can choose from. But let's select the default or init preset. Outside you can see just an audio channel, and here we just have a drone which I previously recorded. The fact that also it works as an AUv3 effect means that you can use it, of course, real time. For example, you can connect through an audio interface your electric guitar or another type of instrument, and through the microphone, for example. So you can do a lot of different things. This is what the drone sounds like. Okay, so nice and simple. And let's see what happens straight away out of the box with the default preset. So it's almost like pulsating, and I had to wait a little bit. You had to wait a little bit to hear the sound because it started to record in the first buffer up here, and then even when I stopped, we had to wait to actually for the sound, for the audio to clear the buffer. Here you can see you can change the length of the different grains. Up to 64 grains can be fired, and here the rate as well. Every time you see this little symbol here, you can move up the slider and it will increase the randomization for the corresponding parameter. And you can see here you can increase or decrease, right? You can, if you go to the boundaries of increasing, decreasing, you have also additional option to change the configuration, like having triplets, etc. Okay, so let's play a little bit with the length and rate. Here we go, it's coming. You can hear I'm changing the length. And of course you can change the rate, and you can create some interesting effect. You can create some of those pulsating type of sound from a drone, but you can do even more than that, because you can change the pitch here and also the fine pitch adjustment that you can create as well, and you can randomize those as well. So let's try. So suddenly you can create a melodic effect, you can give it some rhythm as well, and you can change the pitch. But not only that, at the moment is actually applying like a stretch algorithm by where it keeps the length of the grain the same as I'm moving up and down the pitch, but you can stop that from happening clicking in here. Really interesting, right? And here you can adjust the output, and you can increase the level of wet, the input. You have your dry and wet effect, and here you have high pass and low pass setting as well. In the middle, you have envelope. You can click up, click and drag up and down, left and right. So you can adjust how the envelope works. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Here as well, you can change source. As you move these up as a dial, you enable more probability to go to this second input, your second buffer. And by the way, it is armed for recording when it's blinking here red, so you can click on the red there. It starts to record, as you can see. You can clear it, click on it, it will clear it. And of course, you can click here to actually monitor what the sound is like coming in. Here you can select the input, sidechain A, sidechain B, and input. And of course, if you create an additional audio channel, like so, you can then select, for example, from multibus audio instances, again, the granulator, and then you can have a different input as well that is going in. So let's say we choose a copperhead here, and we choose actually from the preset here, we go to something like so. Okay, and then for example we can have the link the keyword here like so. Okay, and what you will hear now is, as I press a key, I will fire copperhead to produce a note. And I select this that is coming from Sidechain A, which is that input. And let me monitor that input as well. So. Okay, so you could hear that input coming from Sidechain A, which is effectively this source here. Okay, so you can use different input up to 3. And of course, depending on the setting here, you can set the probability of the sound coming from this input or these other input as well. And by the way, you can change the level here of both. And the beauty is, of course, you can have both of them. You have to actually mute here if you don't want to hear copperhead directly. Okay, so you have to mute that, just remember that. But let's set these to play always a note C4. Okay, it's coming, there's recorded here. Okay, let's listen. So you can hear that So you can hear different type of sound which are actually combined. Okay, and that is one way, of course, to use it with a drone type of sound. Now let's stop these and let's open up the file player and let's change that. So for example, let's go for a different type of sounds. For example, we could choose this one, okay, which sounds like so. Okay, just a simple vocal. Okay, let's see what we can create with the granulator. Almost like a rhythmic now and delay effect, right? But the beauty when you have a vocal is that you can change the offset to the position on the buffer, okay? You can randomize that as well, and it can create some really interesting effect. Let's listen. So as you can hear, acting here on the dry and wet, you can really check the differences, right? So really powerful. Really great. So you can really create some very interesting effect. But if I go back for a moment to that drone type of sound, okay, let me show you what happens, because I can constrain the pitch changes to live MIDI, which means that if I route, for example, my keyboard here, or even the internal keyboard, let's do it with the internal keyboard directly to Quantum, like so. Right, when live MIDI input is enabled, you can see the symbol here as well. So you can have the AUM keyboard here, right? And you will find that now I click play, you can see the audio buffer is receiving, okay? But you don't have any audio, and that's because you need to press a key, okay, on your MIDI keyboard, in this case, the AUM keyboard. So in this way, you can actually play a melodic tune, okay, acting on changing live the pitch of all the grains, which are created over, of course, the audio input, which is coming from the file player, which in this case was this drone sound, which is really amazing. You can create a lot of different effects. Really, really good. Let's see what we can do when we have a drum sound, okay? So. So just a simple drum loop pattern, okay? So let's work with length and rate and other controls, and let's see what we can create. So as you can hear, in this case, I have a simple drum loop and I made it melodic, acting on live MIDI pitch changes. So truly amazing. By the way, you can change the direction here forward and backward as well of the grains in terms of how they are played. So a lot of different things you can do. Remember, you have also filters up here. Amazing sound, really, and effects. You can see utilization of CPU is pretty good. So let's remove this channel as well, so it drops significantly, even when it's playing. Look, 2-3%. I just have a file player here, and the effect really good. And remember, of course, you have the additional modulator here, okay? So LFO, for example, sine wave, we just assign that again to the pitch, to the pitch here, like so, okay? And then we have that working, which is actually brilliant. Okay, so... there it is. I just redone it because I didn't want to change all the other different parameters. But you can see it's modulating here the pitch. And of course, you can constrain here. If you click here, you can, and then on this hamburger menu, you can select, for example, scale. You can constrain to a chromatic scale, to fifth, major, octave, etc. Or you can create your chords, by the way, randoms, a lot of different options. You can create your own, like so, constrained to these 3 notes, okay, as the pitch change. So really, really great. And of course, you have a lot of other different options here. You can choose a follower. Okay, you can go by amplitude, and then you can choose as an input, for example, Sidechain A or Sidechain B, and then you can go and modulate a parameter, which is really good. That means that you can put on a second audio channel or additional audio channel a different, like a drum loop, and then based on the bits of those, because you have or the amplitude of that bit, the amplitude follower here in this case then can modulate, for example, a volume or another parameters. Then you create your typical sidechain effect. So lots and lots of different things that you can do. It's really intuitive in terms of actually using it, and really easy to create effects. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and demonstration, and as always, see you next time. Bye.